Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business position strategist, and author, Sean Douglas. Life Transformation Radio is heard in over 74 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I personally thank you for those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell you why we're doing what we're doing, highlight a transformational moment that changed our lives, and how we use it to then transform others and elevate your lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join our Facebook community, Transformation Radio Community. Ask you subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Transformation Radio can be heard on Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Video Public, Overcast, Castbox, the Himalaya app, and Google Play Music app. Basically, where you listen to podcasts, you can subscribe. My guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, being impacting the world around them. My guest today does just that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live podcast, Tuesday, Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, join us on the show. Call in at 657-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, help me welcome to the show my friend, fellow podcast host, Lance. I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, my friend.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me. Great show, by the way, man. Love it.
Absolutely, man. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Essihos.
Okay, because, man, I
Lance
tried,
Essihos.
and I was practicing, and I was like, I don't want to mess it up. So I'll admit my failure. I suck. So I can't pronounce the last name as Essihos.
It's a tough one, man, and I've just tried to make it easy on people. Like, it could be so many. I've heard so many different pronunciations over the years, so I just made it Essihos.
But it makes it stand out. So, dude,
Yeah.
you're doing incredible things in the world, man. Podcast is amazing. I've listened to quite a few episodes, and it's just I love what you do. Your take on the adversity and the resilience, and the way the guest just shares. It just I love it, man, and I try to do the same on my show. So maybe that's why I like it so much, because I like your style a lot.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Cut out a bit there, man. Cut out on me there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's one of these things where it's like, for me, it's just super important to be able to just have that human conversation and to really be able to find out about the person and, to find out, where they were and kind of how they got to where they want to be. So it's the same sort of thing as what you're doing. It's really highlighting those moments of transformation, because that's kind of what I needed in my life when I was, at rock bottom. So that's why I can appreciate something like this, where you really dive in and figure out that core thing that kind of help people project into into the lives that they're living now.
Perfect. I love it. So the title of this episode is University of Adversity podcast host Lance Essihos. Lance is the creator of the increasingly popular podcast University of Adversity, an innovative series that delivers inspiring stories of people who have overcome incredible adversity and gone forward to great heights in the face of such challenge and struggle. What I love about that is that challenge and struggle part. And I think that's so incredibly important. Podcast has made the top 50 on iTunes and continues to capture audiences with its genuine message, hope, ability, and humanity. Lance is a visionary who has experienced life through three very different lenses: as a hockey player, a bartender, and now an innovative entrepreneur and podcaster. Lance himself is no stranger to adversity. He has faced some of life's most difficult challenges, from grinding his way through the hockey ranks to traveling the world as a bartender. Through his personal battle with drugs and alcohol in his 20s, the tragic loss of his brother to suicide, followed by the great loss of his father to cancer only a year later, Lance realized he had hit rock bottom. In the darkest of days, he made a promise to himself that he would create a new life, one that would make an impact and inspire the masses, leaving the world in a better place than he found it. Lance has made it his mission to facilitate the message of positive change through adversity and encourage people to see the light through the darkness of life's worst moments. Since making the shift from being a bar manager 2 years ago, he has been developing his skills while following his passion for human connection and relationship building. Through his podcast, University of Adversity, Lance extracts the very valuable messages of undeniable resilience, bravery, courage, and hope from each of his guests, lessons his listeners can actively apply to their own lives. Now, what I want you all to do is go to the website that is going to be in the show notes, Lance Essihos, Essihos, Lance, Essihos. I want you to go right now, start what you're doing, and search for University of Adversity on Google or on Apple Podcasts. And I want you to smash the subscribe button right now and connect with his podcast. It is absolutely incredible. And his social media is Lance BU, and then again is Essihos. What I want you to do is send him a message. I want you to send him a message. Tell him that that you heard his episode on Life Transformation Radio. Go tell Lance that you heard it on Life Transformation Radio. So, Lance, the first question, my friend, is why? Why do you do?
Oh, first of all, thank you for that amazing plug there for the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Why do I do what I do? Well, because, when I hit that moment when I lost my younger brother and my dad, I was really lost. I was really lost in the world. I didn't really have a purpose, and I always had something within me that knew there was a bigger thing than what I was doing. And after, I guess it took me to go through such a toxic lifestyle, losing two family members, it really just kind of said, all right, time to step back and reassess what I'm doing. Once I quit drinking alcohol and kind of cut that area out of my life, I started to realize that what I was doing didn't really serve my purpose, and I began going into a different path that led me to sort of building the skills that I needed to connect with more people and make a bigger impact. So it's evolved. My why is evolved, and it continues to evolve the more people I can impact.
I love that. Okay. So the why, obviously, the why is at the forefront, but does the core why stay the same, like that one reason, or do you keep adding on as time goes by?
Well, you know what? It does stay. Like I generally want to inspire people, and my why is to make an impact in people's lives. I want to leave their lives better than they were before we met. That's my goal. Mine is to be the light in people's lives. Not to be cliche, but it's the light instead of the darkness. You have those two choices, and that's literally, I want to lift human spirit through human connection, right? And that will never change. But does it grow and evolve as I connect with more people and see how many amazing people are out there? Yeah, it grows. But my underlying reason, my why, will always be that I love lifting the human spirit and inspiring people.
I love it. Dude, that's super cool, man.
Thanks, bro.
So take us back. Take us back to that moment. What is your transformational moment that changed your life and put you on the path to what you're doing today?
It was definitely when I quit drinking alcohol in 2017. Now, I'm not here to say alcohol is bad or good or whatever. For me, when I made that decision, I was living in Australia. I was running a bar. I did it. So many things changed for me that day because so many mistakes in my life were because of my lack of care because of alcohol. And I made so many mistakes. So when I decided to quit that, a lot of things opened up for me. Okay. So that losing my dad, losing my brother, those were all things that contributed. But when I gave that stuff up for a while, I did it in 2017, and then I, ended up in 2018 again, and then I quit again in 2019. But that was the thing that really set me up for rebuilding myself. That was the thing that I needed that was stopping me. So I think back when you asked that question, that's what I could pinpoint to be the one thing that really set me in a different direction.
Oh, wow. So so how is that spring? How is that the catalyst, right? I feel like Mothers Against Drunk Driving was created because their child was killed by a drunk driver. And I've noticed through 270 some episodes of the show that there's always that one catalyst, that one moment that had that moment not happened, life would be completely different. Do you know what that catalyst was?
Yeah, I was in Sydney, Australia, and I was partying so bad sometimes that I would be I would lie there in a puddle of sweat with my anxiety coming so hard, and like just wondering like how and not being able to sleep, not being able to do anything because my anxiety was so bad and sweating. And I was lucky enough that I didn't end up in jail for doing something stupid or in the hospital, that I didn't hit that part rock bottom. But that was kind of where I was like, this needs to change or that's going to happen, right? That was the moment. So many of those, having to drink before going to work, having to get into the zone just to talk to people because my anxiety was so bad. That's where I was like, all right, this needs to change. I went through that so many times, and thank God that I didn't have to go through a moment where I was like, I had to choose. It was either, you know what I mean? It was like almost that point, but I hit the point where I was like, okay, well, something worse is going to really happen, so you need to. So I did, and that was it. Like I made so many stupid mistakes at work. Luckily, they didn't get me fired. But that being said, I was fortunate enough to not literally hit the rock bottom part. But that impact really, just clearing that stuff out really allowed so much healing to occur that I didn't even realize at the time. And that just projected me in so many different ways. Like I just can't even, it's crazy when I look back in hindsight.
Yeah, for sure, man. What I love about your profile, your bio, everything is you've taken those moments, you've used them to your advantage, and use them as a teaching moment for someone else. At first, I think we hide behind those, like I'm embarrassed, I don't really want to tell anybody what I was going through. And then we learned that, at least for me, that somebody needs to hear my story. Somebody needed to hear what I went through because they're in it. And it speaks to emotional intelligence, and it speaks to leading with empathy, which I absolutely try to do in every facet of my life. Has that been the same experience for you? I know it has for me. If I tell somebody my story, they're like, oh my gosh, I was feeling the same way. I don't feel so awkward.
Oh, man, you nailed it. It's so important to be able to tell your story, because especially in our society where telling your story has come across as almost like a weakness, right? I grew up in a family like, don't tell anybody your problems. Don't tell anybody. Keep it quiet. And that's actually weakness, right? Having the vulnerability, having the strength to tell your story is so important for others. You're doing others a disservice by not sharing your story, because that is who you are. That is who you are as a human, and your story, the more you tell it, the more you heal as well. It's almost a selfish way to heal. It's weird. It really is.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed, and this is why the podcast world is so important. Is that the more you tell your story, the more you have these conversations, the more you start to heal, and the more you get better at telling it, the better you get at connecting with somebody that needs to hear it. So, yeah, it's that thing that our society is like, don't say anything. It's bad to talk about your story, and it's actually not. And somebody needs that. And the more you can become vulnerable, the more you can learn to really just be yourself, the more other people can be the same way, right? There's a lot of people hiding with their pain. And I truly believe, and I love that you brought this up, that you have to let that out. You have to get comfortable with your story because that's who you are, and that's who people want to see.
Yeah, when I'm on stage speaking, I tell everybody at the end of my talks, I said, you have to let your mess be your message and let the test that you passed come testimony. Because that is why we went through it. Everything that we're going through is preparing us for where we're going to. Whatever that next level is, there's always going to be another adversity. There's always going to be another pain. There's always going to be another adversity to overcome, an obstacle to go over, around, up, under. You have to learn from that adversity, and sometimes it's our own self that puts that adversity in front of us. Do you know how many obstacles we overcome physically in the world compared to the obstacles that we overcome in our own mind? And I'm sure you've heard on your show so many times. We created adversities. Nobody was talking about that. Nobody was, making that happen for you. Nobody made you feel that way. That was you. You made yourself feel good enough. You put that roadblock in front of you, not anybody else. Sometimes there are physical roadblocks, but there are those that are in our mind, and we beat those up. We worry about the future, but the future's not even here yet. We're worrying about what hasn't even happened yet. I see that so many times.
Yeah, it's the stories we tell ourselves. That's literally what it is. It's that programming that we tell ourselves, and it's not even real. But we get so caught up in that persona that box that we've created, that we decide that that's who we are, that we're going to continue to tell stories that align with that. And until you decide to step outside of that persona, that box that you keep saying, you're not going to change. And you have the ability to tell new stories, right? But it takes work. And it's just so important for people to understand that it's okay where you are. It's okay. You can change. You can grow. Exactly like you said, there's always going to be adversity. But what tools do you have to get through them? How you look at adversity compared to somebody else, or challenges or transformation, it's all your perspective on how you look at it. What are you learning from it instead of what is it doing to me, right?
Huge.
And the more you conversations like this, the more you get better at understanding that healing or your journey, it's okay where you are. It is all right, because tomorrow you can grow. Today you can decide to grow. And that's not being cheesy. That's just being like, yesterday is gone, but if we're going to keep telling our story, that's a choice. What happened to you wasn't your fault, but to keep reliving that story is your choice, right? So you have to decide that it's time for a new story. It's time to make that happen, right? And it can be challenging sometimes, but it is possible.
Absolutely, man. I wholeheartedly believe that. And with that, and to that point, I love hearing the story of how people overcame, because somebody needs to hear that story too. And maybe I need to hear that story. Maybe I haven't had that adversity, but I'm going to remember the conversation. And because people understand, and they listen to people's stories, and what I've noticed is it's not about what you know, it's about how you make people feel. And if you're telling your story and you've got it, right? I mean, we know those amazing storytellers, and it's amazing as they play out in movies and in books and even on stage as a speaker. You got to tell your story in a way that pushes people to not make the same mistakes that you did, or give them a way, show them the way that if you get into this situation, like, I know the keys to get out. We have a saying in the military that a soldier fell into a hole and the ground crumbled underneath him and couldn't figure out why. He's stuck in the hole. His supervisor comes by and he goes, "How'd you get in there?" He's like, "I fell in there. I need help." "All right, I'll go get somebody," and then forgot. The senior leader walks by and goes, "Hey, how'd you get in there?" And he goes, "Man, I don't know how I get in there. I just don't know. I need help getting out." And he's like, "Just dig deeper. You got this. Dig deeper. You can get out of the hole." And so the soldier digs himself a deeper hole. A therapist and psychologist come by and they're having a conversation and the soldier's yelling for help. So that psychologist and therapist sat there for an hour, took down his information and says, "Okay, we'll come back next week and see if we can help you. And then if we can't, we'll just see if we can come back and grab some more people to help you. But we'll be back in a week. See us next time, same time." Another soldier walked by after hearing his screams for help, and he jumped in the hole. The soldier asked, "Why did you just jump in the hole with me?" He's like, "Because I know how to get out."
Mm.
And I just,
Powerful.
man, how many
Yeah.
times have we not led with empathy or not told our story,
Yeah.
but somebody needed to hear it because they're in the hole?
Oh man, and that's what gets me fired up is like help is knowing that, man, I know what that feels like. I know how people just need the human connection, especially with social media and everybody. It's like we have this we have this connection, but less human connection. It's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people need. That's why I love podcasting again because people need to hear that stuff. And now that now that you've got, I feel like I've got out of it in such a big way that I want to reach down and help. I love that analogy. I love
Mm-hmm.
being able to put my arm down and help guide somebody because, you know, that's our duty as humans. When you learn, when you hit a certain level, it's your duty to help the other people, right? And I mean, that's what gives me fulfillment. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
And we're connected. You and I are connected in a couple different ways. So in 2008, in the military, I was battling alcohol issues, and I showed up to work drunk, and I got charged with an Article 112 against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Got charged with an Article 112 drunk on duty. Took my blood, took my security clearance. They ripped everything away, said I needed anger management. And my wife was leaving me, was taking our two kids, and she's from Utah. So she left, and stationed in Utah at the time, and I went to ADAP, which is the Alcohol and Drug Dependency and Abuse Prevention and Treatment program in the military. Go to some classes. They kind of counsel you and mentor you a little bit. I'm talking to chaplains. I'm talking to everybody. It's just I didn't even want to do any of it. I was so low in that moment. I had hit my rock bottom. They wanted to kick me out of the military. My wife had already left because she can't deal with the job that I was in. I was always gone, always deployed. It was just terrible. So in December of 2008, I literally put a gun in my mouth and I was ready to end my life. It was the people around me that called me relentlessly that day and stopped me from doing it. My dad had called me. We don't even have a relationship. My dad called me. My fellow, airmen, my fellow people that I served with, they kept calling me. They found me. They did everything. They took, of course, took all my weapons away and all that stuff. And they were like, "Dude, we got to get you some help." They wanted to kick me out. They're like, "No, we're just gonna go," but they didn't. And they actually got me the help that I needed. Battling child trauma from physical abuse and emotional and mental abuse from family members, and by the time I was 18, I lived in 11 different houses and I attended 8 different schools because we had to run away from an abusive stepfather who would find us at school and find us within where we were living. He would track us down. Like, it's insane, that
Wow.
type of running mentality. And it all catch up with me. And guess what happened? Found alcohol and it caught up with me. And so I used to use alcohol as a way to cope, because I'd have these issues and I'd see like a woman be mistreated and I'd trigger back to, I just never dealt with it. And that was, man, that was tough. I hear people like, man, I'm thinking about, do you know what people's expressions are when you say, I know what you mean? Kid will tell me, he's like, man, I don't know, man. I just don't feel like myself. And I was like, you going to hurt yourself? He's like, I don't know. I don't care if anything happens to me. I was like, so do you want to end your life? And some people will tell me, they're like, I do. And he's like, and here's what I tell him. I said, I felt the same way. And I actually tried. And they're like, what? No way. I'm like, I did. And this is what I was going through. And when you tell somebody, like, I felt what you feel, I've been there. And when you say I've been there, that somehow, that empathy somehow brings them back. And they're like, well, how'd you get over it? What did you do? Because they see that you're the light at the end of the tunnel. That's it.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's so true. And that's what humans need, That's what we all need. Because you know what, people talk about, suicide thoughts like it's like a crazy thing. It's hard for me to believe that if you've gone through a hard time that thought didn't pass through. I mean, of course, I feel like it's okay to have these thoughts that just because you've had that thought doesn't make, you know what I mean? It can be like, oh, you had that thought, you must be crazy. And that's not the case, because I definitely
make you less human.
No, because just admitting it makes you more human. I feel like a lot of people, when you're in a really, really bad situation, of course they've thought of that, but that doesn't mean they're going to react. But that doesn't make it like even another thing for people can talk about, right? Like the vulnerability. Like we all have been in bad situations where well, I don't say everybody, but I mean, I of course have those thoughts too. But whether I did that, no, right? Because there's more value to living for me. But I can see how people can have that, right? And and that's why it is important to have somebody that you can connect with, that's been kind of on the same page, and be like, hey, you know what? I know it sucks. I know what you're feeling, but it gets better, Like, don't worry. Just get through today. Get through today. Go have yourself do something that's going to make you happy. Man, you'll feel better. Like the simple stuff. And
100%.
Yeah. So
you and I are connected in another way too. I used to be a semi-pro hockey player back in 99, 2000, 2001.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I played in Michigan for the Port Huron Border Cats before they became the Port Huron Beacons. That was years after I joined the military and got out of there and whatever else. And I had a knee injury. I got slammed into the boards from the front and from the back, and they hit me almost simultaneously. And my skate was in the ice because you kind of plant to stop at the board, and my skate was in the ice. And then the guy from behind hit me second. When the guy hit me from the front, it kind of twisted my body, and when the guy from behind hit me and finished the check, my leg was still planted, but my body was twisted around, and it tore my knee. That's pain.
Back then, was that your ACL?
Yeah, ACL.
Yeah,
no,
back
it was it was AHL is what it was, because they had the UHL, IHL, and then the AHL combined with the UHL.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like minor, like it was almost like single A baseball.
All right. Okay.
It was like local, right? Like local travel ice hockey. You know what I mean? Like, because in Michigan, you got the Red Wings. Underneath them, you used to have the Detroit Vikings. I don't think they're around anymore. But you had the Grand Rapids Griffins, where a lot of the Detroit Red Wings players would pick up, that's their farm team.
Right.
Is Grand Rapids Griffins on the other side of Michigan. Well, below Grand Rapids Griffins was everybody else. And we played I think we played 27, 28 games a year, something like that. It was not a very long season, but it was kind of extended out because we'd play 2 days a week, and then we'd have a week off. But it was guys had jobs. It was one of those I'm trying to get into the NHL, so this is a step up. but it wasn't like a local rec league. Like we traveled to Fort Wayne, Indiana. We traveled to Chicago. We traveled to Pittsburgh. We traveled to, yeah, I mean, it was a league, but it just wasn't like a, it's almost
That's
like,
good.
if you ever
That's
seen,
good hockey over there. It's good hockey
oh
over
yeah,
there, man.
if you ever seen like Will Ferrell's like Pro and like the Flint Tropics, like that's pretty much what we played in. Well, my dream was to be an NHL player. When you're in Michigan, that's what you do. Man. You become a hockey player.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's like,
man. What about you?
It's probably the closest state to Canada as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, man? What about your hockey career? That sounds pretty awesome.
Well, I got to junior A, so I played in the British Columbia Hockey League.
Okay.
I was, pretty close to getting. I was trying to get an NCAA scholarship, and
Okay, cool.
yeah, another crazy story is I was playing going into my 20-year-old years, my year to probably either land a scholarship or whatever else. But I went and did a cycle of steroids, and I gained like 20 pounds, 25 pounds, and I completely messed up my career. I went into training camp and people were like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Like, why are you so bloated? Why are you so big? And I just completely messed up my career. And after that, I was done. I finished off the year playing junior B, and then I just and then I just was just like, and then that's where it all started. That's where the downhill spiral started, going into drinking and getting in bars, and that was just sort of like drowning my sorrows for the next I don't know how long. But yeah,
Dang.
that was. I had an opportunity. I could have still gone back and probably tried, but that was really disheartening for me because I knew that I really blew it.
For sure.
And I was so close. All the guys I played with, so many guys went on to get NCAA scholarships at really good schools.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I could have played. And then a lot of guys I just interviewed a guy yesterday who played 9 years in the NHL after we played junior A. And it's just like so many guys are so close to the same level, and then you just make a dumb decision, and then that's it, right? So.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, man. A couple of my buddies that played on that team went on to play for the Grand Rapids Griffins, and they've suited up for NHL games, but they didn't get to play. They're like, It's like the backup, like you're the backup in case something happens, and we need a guy, and like, it's a home game, like let's bring you out, stuff like that, and they've suited up, in NHL gear, but they weren't called. They were just kind of backups. You were riding the bench. God, man, my whole family too. It was crazy. We went home this year to Michigan, and I live in North Carolina, and my wife is like talking to my uncle, like, why, like, we're a bunch of athletes and stuff. Like, why did you let him go in the military? Like, what? And my uncle looks at me and is like, I think it was the dumbest move you've ever done. You could have been playing for the Detroit Tigers or for the Detroit Red Wings. Like, man, you made so many bad decisions, and it's not your fault. It's your upbringing. You weren't brought up right. I was like, oh, thanks. Like just digging in a little deeper, But my cousin, so my uncle, my cousin's amazing, and he went and played college ball, man, for Ohio, and we kind of rapped a little bit. Like, you're in Detroit, you go into like Ohio, like Michigan, Ohio hate each other. But he played college ball, man, all 4 years and just dominated. And then he didn't get drafted, and so he's like, I'm just not going to do it. Uncle's like, go to the minors, like go to AAA, like just go to a farm team somewhere, just play. And he's like, nah. So he's real like super discouraged. But he's doing good though. He's crushing his job and he loves what he does. He's going to build his own business, and good on him.
Yeah.
But man, to hear people tell me like, you could have been an athlete, you could have been this, could have been this, it's just like so hard to look back and go, man, if I wouldn't have done that thing, what would my life be like?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? In hindsight, it's always 2020. And I look back and I think about all that I've experienced since then, though. And, believe it or not, after interviewing a lot of players, like NBA players or NHL players who are actually out of the sport now, how happy they are to be out of the sport. We see it as, well, when you make it, it's going to be this extravagant thing. And of course it is. There's so many good things to being a pro athlete, obviously. But the more I talk to these guys, the more they realize, like, wow, there's a lot of stuff that's not the greatest either, right? And they actually love the fact now that they don't have that, that, because there's just such a schedule. There's just such, you're such a demanding schedule when you're in pro sports, And of course, like, it's so nice to look back and go, oh yeah, it would have been awesome, of course. But, there's two sides to everything. So it's like, and we've learned so much coming that I'd be a different human if I played sports now, or played in the NHL. It's like, it's a crazy thought.
Crazy. For sure. So you talked about interviewing. Let's talk about your podcast, man. Like,
yeah.
University of Adversity. I, first of all, love the name,
Thanks.
Like, I love the name because you always hear of, like, I went to the school of hard knocks. Like, I grew up in the school, in the real world. Like, but that's how we learn, though, that we learn by doing. We learn by the experience. But I firmly, 100% believe that if you don't learn, you will repeat the lesson over and over and over again.
That's right. That's the universe, man. That's the universe giving the thing. It's like you're gonna see this thing until you learn, right?
Oh, 100%. So yeah, talk about the podcast. Where'd you come up with the name? Where can everybody hear it? Just kind of plug the show, man. It's a great show.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, the word adversity really popped up into my mind actually when I was in Australia, and it's just been something that's been. I was like, I've been through adversity. I really want to create a platform to kind of help people get through adversity. And I'd even thought of, like, I have like book titles with that. And I don't know. Sometimes a word comes to you, and that's just what I went with and played around with words. And obviously University of Adversity was cool, and I liked how it sounded. And I was like, this is awesome. This is perfect for a podcast. And it's cool because I want to change people's perspective on adversity, right? Because a lot of people think it's, and I say this, a lot of people think it's your biggest enemy, but it's actually your greatest ally, right? It is your greatest ally, because if you don't have any adversity in your life, you aren't growing. Not to say you have to go through crazy transformation or crazy stuff to have adversity. That's not the case. There's adversity every day in our lives that if we learn to appreciate it as a growth tool instead of a hindrance, we can really learn from that, right? So I enjoy. When I first started, I thought I got to have this story of, like, guy gets hit by the bus. How does he, but it doesn't always have to be that crazy story. There's a lot of things that I find, a lot of people's stories that they don't think are going to be a big deal. And then they talk about it. I'm like, oh man, someone could get value from that. And those are the stories that people can relate to. And that's what I love about it, is that there's an adversity lesson in everybody's life. It's how you extract that and how you get them telling it that gets exciting. And how they tell it is how people get inspired, right? So, what? How it's grown, we're almost at 100 episodes, and it's just been super rewarding. And every time I do it, I just feel like I just get I get more confident, a little bit better. And I truly enjoy sharing people's story. And I really believe that a lot of people don't value their story. And that's where I love to really, like, pull it out of them and share it. So yeah, and it's been really good. We're fortunate enough. We hit a couple good little things here and there, but it doesn't matter. I just want to be consistent. We do 3 episodes a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to start doing a couple more solo episodes as well. Wednesdays will be like a solo kind of quicker episode. Yeah, so that's it. It's on all platforms, and I encourage anybody. We got pro athletes, we got people entrepreneurs. We have scientists, all kinds of really cool people that have been through stuff and gone on to become successful in whatever it is they're doing. So I encourage people to go and listen and, try and, grab a valuable lesson from there, because there's definitely somebody that could add some value to your life. Definitely, 100%.
Perfect, man. I absolutely love it. And top 50 is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, I could go on for analogies forever, but I mean, dude, like top 50. I mean, I was, according to Chartable, because I use Chartable, I was number 36 in India.
Yeah,
not U.S.
Well, I wasn't you. Mine. That's the thing, is like I'm in Canada. So Canada, we hit top 100 in Canada and Australia, not the States.
That's
I'll be
awesome.
clear on that. We didn't hit the States. I don't want to claim to be like Canada and Australia. But at the same time, you know what? We hit that. I hit 40. Number 41 was the best. But
that's awesome.
And there was 60. Yeah, it's good. I celebrate it. It's great. But it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, all right, it doesn't mean anything if I don't consistently show up. And
100%.
I don't really pay attention to it much. It's just one of those things that I'm like, oh, you know what? I should maybe be, celebrate this a bit. But now it's like, what really matters is the consistency and the amount of people I can impact, right? Like, that's the thing, because you could do that and then quit tomorrow, right? It doesn't matter. But I appreciate that. And yeah, that's something that I encourage podcasters out there. Yeah, enjoy that, but that doesn't mean anything long term, right? It means like, okay, well, how are you stepping your game up? How are you continuing to bring value, right? You're only as good as your last shift, as they used to say in hockey, right?
Yep, 100%. You're only as good as your last shift, man. 100%. And you're, dude, you're so close too, man. Like 91 episodes. I'm sure you've got some more coming out. Once you hit that 100, man, you just hit another level, and once you hit 100, it's like we're on the home stretch, baby. Like it's hard to keep on like until you get, it's usually like around 30, 40, you're like, oh man, like I don't see anything. I don't know. Like I've had early success, but it's kind of dwindled a little bit. Or you get like, I got no success. Now I got a little bit more, and kind of goes either way. But once you get past, I got my 100th episode, you're like, I got a new fire. When I hit 100, it was amazing. When I hit 200, I don't know, people like celebrated. They're like, you did it. I'm like, I hit 100. Like, how's 200? Like, what's 300 going to be? So I think there's like these milestones that we hit. But yeah, the one that I listened to really, and I've listened to a bunch of them. I like to bounce around. I always love to listen to the first and second and third one, because I love to see I listened to the very first episode, right? Episode 1, episode 2, and I go back and I listen to the most current episode, and I want to see how different it is. And I don't think it was so different, but I will say that the confidence level is definitely there. You grew into it, like, right? Because you like grow, and I'm sure is atrocious. I'm sure my episodes too. I'm sure they're atrocious, but you get used to it. And the one that I absolutely love, my favorite episode was the one with Ben Gothard.
Oh yeah.
It was about entrepreneurship. That one was like, yes. Oh my God, yes. I love the dude too. He's a super solid dude. We're connected. So I had to listen to his episode. But you guys rocked it on that one. That one was one that I'm like, gotta save that one. Definitely have to download that one for sure.
Yeah, Ben, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really, really, truly appreciate that. And yeah, Ben's a good dude, man. I was on his show too. He's had a lot of success, and man, he's got a story, and he's really good at speaking.
Dude.
And it's really, really cool. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, man. You get into 100. Like I just started this in the end of December, right? So I pumped out 100 pretty quick, and but I love it because it's my thing now, and I do podcasts as a business too. I've gone all in on this stuff because I see the value in it. Like I truly believe that this is, I want to inspire the world through human connection, man, and that's what we got. This is what this is, human connection in a way that we can do it in our favor, right? And yeah, it's exciting, 100, and it's crazy because you hit this point where you're like, oh man, is this working? And what is this and that? And a lot of people can get wrapped up in some of the metrics of it. And it's like, you know what? Just do your thing. Just do your thing. Show up. Continue to get the best you can. I'm ruthless with reaching out to people that I want to get on the show. I just love it. I love the challenge. I love the way the world is right now, how you're connected to people, and how it's like, like anything is possible right now. So as I continue to grow, I think it gets more fun too. And now, just like you, where you're at, you could reach out and be like, and and help people that are starting, because people come up to me and I'm like, oh, I want to start. I'm going to start, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you should, you know, but it's all about, people are just so afraid to just be them, right? Be them. And
Yep.
I feel like it's crazy what you learn after the long journey of doing that many episodes that you didn't know that you would learn. And yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's really exciting. And who knows what's going to be the next 100, bro? Like, I mean, that's congratulations on your success. You've done extremely well, man. And, you know, it's a pioneer. You're a pioneer of this business. And it's really, really cool because what you're doing as well with the radio and all that is really unique. And just like when I got on here, I was like, oh, this is super cool, man. I was like, I feel like I'm like on like a sports radio show, but I'm like, this is so cool. And this is the direction. And I love the innovation, bro. So also thank you and well done for what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just looking at your guest list, man, there's a lot of people I know. You know, Zachary Babcock, Tom Sylvester, Sherry Strong, Jason Long. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of people that I've had on my show that have been on your show, and they're just, man, they're so good, man. Rob Eastman, he had somebody else on there. I can't remember. I was looking earlier. Daniel, I can't remember his last name, but he was talking about basically the meaning of life. What I took from that episode was like a meaning
Daniel
of life.
Levin.
Daniel Levin. Yep.
That was a trippy one, man. He was very, yeah.
Yeah, man. I was like, what?
Some of the rabbit holes to go down, man. That's what I love. I just like, oh man.
I had to put back the needle a couple of times.
It's
like
crazy.
An old record player. Let me put back the needle. Like, what the hell did I just miss?
Man, I know, and that's what I love is that there's like so many cool things that I love to talk about. It's like a life hack. I get a hack. I get to get into these people's people's lives and talk, and I'm like, this is like therapy for me, man. You know, like it's so
dude.
cool. It's cool to be able to have those people share that insight, because everyone's got a different lens. Everyone's seeing this game through a different lens, you know.
100%, man. If there's a guest that I've had on my show that you want to get in contact with, let me know, man. I'll make an email connection. If you're looking for certain guests, man, I'd love to help you and support you in any way, man. Maybe I dig your show because I've had adversity as a resilience trainer. I talk about, adversity and all that, but just like, dude, that guy was a trip. And I had I'm like, hold on a second. Let me go back like what the hell did I just miss? Because like I could it was like rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and I was like, wait, the meaning of, like, I know the meaning of life, like, or you get like the quotes, but he was like in the weeds on some things, and I was like, what? So it was weird. It was like I just never thought about it that way.
I know, man. I know. And by the way, you gotta come on my show too. 100%. 100%.
That'd be cool.
Let's just get that established. Like,
I mean, that would be super cool. I've been kind of cyber stalking your show and cyber stalking you for a little bit. Glad we got connected. Love learning about you. We're connected in a bunch of different ways, man. So I just really, really appreciate you coming and sharing your story, what you have going on with your University of Adversity. Love the graphic, by the way. The graphic is like super cool, man. My first graphic on my show absolutely sucked. It was like a bunch of stairs, and it was terrible. But my new graphic, people are like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I wanted something that was different. And I like yours because it's different. Like the background and the way that your artwork is, man, it just speaks to, your audience. So you're doing amazing things, man. I love what you have going on. And it's just an honor and a privilege to sit down with a guy who's absolutely crushing it. Somebody that I can absolutely learn from, take in a couple of those nuggets, use them for my life, and who's just in it to win it, man. You're just in it to win it.
Man, I appreciate that, and you as well, bro. Your show is awesome, man. I love this because we look back from 5 years from now, we're gonna be like, wow, like what do we create here? It's like, and I love it, and it's exciting because the world's changing, and it's. Who knows, right? And I truly, truly appreciate that, man. That really means a lot. And it just, when you hear that, it just makes it feel like it's all worthwhile. Because sometimes, you're pumping these out, and you're like, wait a minute, like, just like what? Of course, you have those days where you're like, just what am I doing here, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
it's great.
Because
It's great
you'll
to
pump
get
out
that.
you'll pump 20 episodes out. You know, here's another one. There's another one. Create my videos from like headline. Like I use headliner.
Yeah.
Create
Same.
this, pump this, tag this, do this. You know, and then you're sitting there like today. You know, you're sitting there and you get an email. You're like, hey, heard you on this podcast. It didn't come out a couple weeks ago. Would love to set up a call with you, you know, to see how we can work together. And I'm like, hell yeah. Like, let's do it. You know, like I get fired up. I'm like, yes, you know, so
Yeah.
you're
Me
guesting on
too.
shows, you know, and you have a show. It just never know what you might say or what you might do that will change someone's heart and mind and reach out and go, I heard you on here. Would love to have a conversation with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
That's a beautiful thing.
here's what I want to do. I want you to shamelessly plug your websites, social media, programs, products, and services, where they can hear your show. Shamelessly plug for the audience. Go.
Awesome. Well, so a lot of you that don't know, I do podcast production as well. So we do done for you podcasts. So if you're a business entrepreneur, whatever, and you wanna have a podcast, but you just don't want to start, you don't want to learn something new, you know, all that stuff that goes into it. We do a done for you service to basically take away 90% of the worries for you and just allow you to have a podcast without having to do all the annoying stuff that goes with it. Or we take over existing podcasts where like you've got successful and all of a sudden you want somebody to take it over. Basically, I want to help people have podcasts without having to worry about all the annoying stuff. That's pretty much why I do it. I do my podcast and I've realized the value in it. So I'm doubling down. That's my business. So I'm currently I'm revamping. I'm going solo. So if you guys have any questions, you want to check me out, just hit me up on Instagram or even just email me until I revamp the offer on my website, because you can go to lancessihos.com or email me at lancessihos@gmail.com, because we are going to be changing the website. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Reach out to me on Instagram, which is LanceWECOS. All my social media. It's super easy, and I'm always open for DMs on Facebook or whatever. And of course, University of Adversity. Go check it out. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, I mean, share it with your friends if you have, if you like it or you listen to it, and text somebody it. Try and spread the love. You know, this is about inspiring people. So if you feel you got that little jack up in your day, if you just got fired up, share it. You know, and yeah, continue listening to this amazing show. This is so awesome, and this inspired me to want to do this style with my show too, because I'm always thinking, how could I revamp this? I would love to turn it live, where it's like raw, like unedited. You know, what you hear is what you get. I love that. I love the radio style of it. So like, yeah, I really enjoy this. So I mean, maybe we got to talk, man,
Yeah,
and
man.
figure out a way I can revamp my show, because this really inspired me, the style that you have here.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Spreaker. So Blog Talk Radio didn't used to be that great. They merged with Spreaker this year and really turned up their sound. And they still got a little bit of work to do, but Blog Talk Radio gives you a call-in number. Spreaker, you can also do live, but nobody can call in. But you can make it to where, hey, in our Facebook group is a link. You can listen to the show. Just we'll check the group, or on a Facebook Live. A lot of people like Facebook Live their podcasts, which I don't do. And you can do it that way. You can have people just, hey, if you have any questions, email the questions. This is the guest that I'm going to have on the show, you know, and just do it live, you know, on Spreaker. So there's some options, but yeah, man, we could definitely talk.
That's super cool, man. I really like that.
Pumped, man. I got to get syndication. We're going to get some syndication, be heard all over the world, FM radio stations all across the country. So we got some good stuff in the works, man. But I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you sharing. And this has been absolutely amazing to be connected with you, a guy who, you know, I look to, you know, as the guy who is at the forefront of that human connection, of overcoming adversity and giving people a reason to live beyond that adversity. So congratulations to all your success. I love everything you're doing, man.
Thanks, bro. I really, really appreciate it.
Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around him. If anything resonated with you today, go check him out at his website. It's going to be in the show notes. And if something didn't click with you, you might want to check your pulse because this episode was absolute fire, absolute full of some nuggets and things that you can take away from, and go and check out University of Adversity with Essihos, and go check out what he has going on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and go to your wherever you listen to podcasts and go and subscribe to his show. Listen to some episodes, and it means the world to us podcast hosts when you leave those ratings and reviews. So go to Life Transformation Radio, subscribe and leave a rating and review, and do the same to Lance and support him as well. Wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, subscribe, and then if you can, leave a rating and a review. Contact him and let him know that you heard him here at Life Transformation Radio. And with that, I end the show by saying, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. I call that living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.